So welcome everyone. My name is Christina Folan and I am the communication support person at Notre Dame of Mount Carmel. And I'm very happy to be here today with folks from our Alpha series. And for those of you who do not know about Alpha or are not familiar with it, Alpha is a series of sessions exploring the Christian faith. Each session looks at a different question, and in the model of small group discussion, people explore that question each week. So let us begin simply by introducing these wonderful people that we have here from the Alpha Ministry. So Dan, why don't you begin? Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Dan Balog, and I am one of the leads of the Virtual Alpha Ministry. I'm also part of the Alpha Ministry, which is on pause currently because of coronavirus, welcoming committee, virtual rosary. I have also helped Christina with the website and also other communications tasks. I've been a member of the parish for only about 8 months, but I've had a transformational experience in Alpha last November, and I've got a lot of catching up to do.
Thank you, Dan. How about you, Christy?
My name is Christy Sauter, and I have been a member of the church since actually last fall, but I had started coming to Notre Dame during Lent of last year was actually when I started. So I haven't been in the parish for very long either, but I've taken quite a few discipleship group classes with the prayer group and different ones given starting actually during that Lenten period of last year, and just felt drawn to Notre Dame and to the community that's there.
Thank you, Christy. How about you, Will?
All right, so I'm Will Kaiser. I've been a member of Notre Dame my entire life, was baptized in the old church way back in the day, and now I'm on the Virtual Alpha team. In between that time, I was a altar server for 10 years, did church decorating with my parents, and and now I'm on Virtual Rosary as well. So I've been at Notre Dame for a long time, seen a lot of things come and go, and it's just a great ministry to be a part of.
Great to have you, Will. And Ken?
Yeah, I'm Ken Folan. I've been part of Notre Dame for 18 years, and I've served on different ministries from Cornerstone. I'm an extraordinary minister, and also with Guatemala Outreach, and most currently with Alpha, doing Virtual Alpha.
Thanks. So we can just begin our conversation. I'll just give a little bit of a background regarding Alpha. So we've been doing Alpha at Notre Dame for a couple of years. Back in February, I believe, we started our 5th series, and it was going really strong. We were just really, really blessed. But as we all know, March rolled around, and on the 13th of March, we had to shut down the building. And just after 2 sessions of our Alpha in person, we had to obviously shut it down as well. So what basically happened is, our parish leaders and our staff, we basically had to focus immediately on getting the whole live streaming of masses, reaching out to our elderly community. From a faith formation standpoint, those sessions needed to go virtual. So there was a lot that was, just calling us to pay immediate attention to. So therefore, Alpha went on pause, as did most of the other ministries. And we basically thought, you know what, it's going to have to wait till the fall when we get back into the church. We thought we were getting back into the church at the time. So basically, we just didn't really think that we could follow up with Alpha. And again, we focused on other areas. So let's begin with you, Dan. Now, take us from that moment. You were a table leader, right? You were acting as a host at a table with the in-person Alpha. So why don't you fill in the gap from that point on until today? Where are we with Alpha?
Sure. Well, I was very disappointed when Alpha was put on hold. As I mentioned, I had a transformational experience when I was a guest just in November. This was 4 months before I joined the team. So it was entry-level position of co-host. Had 2 sessions under my belt, was really enjoying it. In fact, to promote it, I actually spoke from the altar for 5 weekend masses in early February, from the altar during Father Patty's homily, which was one of the coolest things I've ever done. I'm very, very proud of that. So when coronavirus came around and rudely interrupted all of our lives, I said, this can't be. So I immediately started thinking, well, is the church going to take this online? I thought this is the kind of thing that we could take online. But as you said, Christina, everybody was just too busy scrambling to do other things. At about the same time, we had a whole bunch of discipleship groups taking place in the church as well. And I was a member of one of them. I was a participant in Carl Schlaffeld's Bible and art history discipleship group. And he had like 3 or 4 left to go. And it occurred to me that what he does there, showing pictures, showing videos, and then talking, could be done online. So I contacted Carl and I said, hey, why don't we continue online? And he honestly said, you know, I'm not tech savvy, but I also can be very pestering sometimes. So after about 5 or 6 phone calls with him, actually 5 or 6 phone calls with him, I actually convinced him to continue online, and he did. And then I offered my help to other discipleship groups to do that. Just about this time, Christina, you remember, you sent out an email to the Alpha team asking for someone to lead the prayer course, something called the prayer course.
And I'm thinking, Dan, who's going to do this?
Well, I did a little background. I said the guy who did the prayer course is a friend of Nicky Gumbel, Mr. Alpha. And I said, wow, if I could do this, I could show people I could do Alpha. I had no doubt that we could put Alpha online, but I had to prove it to other people. So I said, me. Immediately downloaded all the videos, praying out the material, told Christine I'd do it. I got over 34 participants signing up for that. Like traditionally you get 10 or 12 for a discipleship group. Gene Panko said, are you sure? Can you handle this? You want to break it up into 2 sessions? No, that's fine. I'm going to use breakout rooms. It's going to be fine. We met for 8 weeks. We watched the video. We went into breakout rooms just like Alpha, and it worked. And just about that time, Nicky Gumbel came out and was actually making videos saying that online Alpha is better than in-person Alpha. So I think it was like a perfect storm. All the elements came together. And just before I finished the prayer course, you guys gave me the green light to do Alpha.
Yeah. I had actually listened to Nicky myself, and I'm like, all right, Dan, okay.
You can do it.
So I went back to you and Gene again, Christine. I said, come on, it's time to do Alpha. And you said, let's do it. And then I thought, wait a second. Who's going to do this? I've been hounding you guys for 3 months. I guess I'll do it. So I did it. And yesterday, I guess it was yesterday, right?
Yes.
Was this 10th session of Virtual Alpha. It's been joyous. It's been absolutely joyous for me. I went from being a guest 8 months ago to now basically running with Christy the whole Virtual Alpha effort. And it's been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. And people, you know, I hate to say this, but you see these Facebook memes all over the place, 2020. You know, I can't wait for you to be over. 2020, can I do a repeat? Can we get back to 2019? This and that. Honestly, ironically, 2020 has been by far the most rewarding year of my life so far because of the prayer course and Virtual Alpha. And now we're planning Virtual Alpha 2 in October. So I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And we're blessed to have you, Dan, and we're blessed to have that spirit and that calling that you felt from day one, even though we were saying, what, no. So you persisted, you felt the call, and we're so grateful for your leadership, as we are with Christy's leadership, because Christy agreed to join Dan and co-lead the Virtual Alpha journey. So Christy, one of the aspects of Alpha, which is extremely critical, is that aspect of welcoming and hospitality. In the in-person Alpha, one of the biggest ways we achieve that sense of welcoming and hospitality is through that meal that is shared before each of the actual sessions, before the video talks. So of course, COVID-19, Zoom, there's no meal. And
Right.
that's one of the bigger reasons why we were saying this couldn't possibly work. How are we going to be able to extend that sense of welcome and hospitality? So Christy, share with us, how have you guys approached the whole concept of welcome and hospitality?
Well, I think, a lot of it is, what does hospitality really mean? And I think, hospitality is feeling welcome. Hospitality is showing someone respect when they're with you, making them feel comfortable in a situation. You think about, I really reflect back on when I first came to Notre Dame, which was, just a Sunday morning that I was looking for a church to go to. And I think Notre Dame really shows that type of hospitality when you arrive, and how welcome you feel. Now, of course, when you're in person, there's the body language, there's the, the contact with people. And as you said, in regular Alpha, or parish Alpha, there's the meal, which you can, when you have somebody to your home and you have a meal, you're sitting down, you're welcoming them in and offering them things. And how do you do that when you're, virtual? Basically we're in the Hollywood squares, and, Dan and my concern was that, if we have 40 to 50 people and we're all in a little box, and not only are we all going to be on one screen, there'll be 3 different screens. So if somebody's talking, are you going to see them? How are they going to feel? What's the, the interaction going to be? So, we really put a lot of thought into how to make people feel like they belonged. And so that was part of, and give a lot of credit to Ken for helping us getting everybody into the breakout group when we first start. And that was very important to us, that we didn't just arrive and be in this big room or, these squares where everybody's going to be just staring at each other and nobody talking. And so the small groups became that very important aspect of hospitality, because we immediately brought everybody into a small group so that they could get to know each other. And, part of hospitality is also trusting who you're with. And when you're in a small group, of course, when you start, it's, hey, how was your week? What's going on? And so, the team leaders, Will, you're a team leader. That's such an important aspect of making someone feel welcome, and that they're respected and that their opinion is valued. So all those things are very important to us. When it came to, trying to find something that would be like a meal, obviously that became another challenge, because we can't really have a meal together in a sense. I mean, we could all be eating, but we're just going to be staring at each other eating on the screen.
It's not good.
Yeah, no. Most of the people will black themselves out then. So, so my thought went to, how do I make people feel welcome when they come to my home? Or that I want them to know I care about them. And so that's when we were doing our Alpha retreat, which of course went from a weekend to 2 nights. And it was, how do you make people feel welcomed and that they're important to you? And I think that was really what we wanted to get across, was that, everybody that was there is so important to us, and we really get joy out of them being with us. And so that came up with the, our little gift package. And of course, then we also ran into that we didn't have people that we were just had locally. We've been able to reach out to people from other states and in fact other countries. So it was, with Ken's help, we were able to get our individual from Mexico City to his gift on time, and that component of it. And I don't want to give anything away what's in our little bag, because in case somebody's doing Alpha next time, they need to be excited about this. So, but we wanted to share a personal note with them about how important it was for us to have them as part of Alpha, some spiritual guidance. And then just some fun things that they could enjoy. And, it was really nice for me to get the feedback that we got, that people really enjoyed what we delivered, and Dan and I had a lot of fun, you know, playing ding dong ditch and dropping the, you know, little bag off for everybody. So, you know, that was a lot of fun. But I think that, you know, our point really was that we wanted people to feel very welcome, and that that they are valued, and that they're in a situation of trust in the small groups, which is key with Alpha. You know, because we are talking about, you know, a lot of things that people may not otherwise talk about. And what I find very interesting also is that when being virtual, I think people in their own homes are very comfortable talking about things.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important aspect of it.
Awesome.
So.
Love that creativity too, Christy,
Yeah.
you know, of the goal, you know, the mission is still hospitality. The method has to be rethought.
That's
you know?
right.
But it's doable if we just simply challenge ourselves, you know, and pray and work towards it. So, you know, you guys did
The
an
Holy
amazing
Spirit is
job.
always there
Absolutely.
guiding us. So.
Yeah. So awesome job with that. Now, Will, you've been a participant of Alpha for a couple of years, right? You've been with us the whole time, right? Yes.
I did the second Alpha at the church, and I've been on teams since. So
Okay, and you've been really leading the teams for the young adults, right? The young adult table, right? So you were a part of the in-person experience with our young adults, and now this time you're also with young adults virtually. Can you share, please, about, you know, that whole experience of the small group, how critical that time is, and how has it transitioned really from the in-person small group to a virtual model? Have things that have been compromised? Is it good? What's working? You know, tell us a little bit about that.
So like Dan said, when we said about going virtual, I'm like, how is this going to work? I had so many, I'm like, I'm sure there's a way, but in my head, I'm like, there's all these complications. You know, small groups really are the cornerstone of Alpha. That's, you know, that's where we talk and have discussions. In person, it's a very intimate setting where, you know, strangers, you know, after the end of 12 weeks become, you know, best friends like family. And then in the in-person Alpha, you know, we unplug, we disconnect, we turn our cell phones off, so there's no distractions, we focus on that. In virtual Alpha, you know, we're asking everyone to plug back in, like, so how is this going to work? And what kind of problems will this make? Since we're going virtual, I kept thinking, you know, there's home distractions, there's neighbors, there's kids, there's pets, there's doorbells, there's the sprinkler going off. But what I've noticed is everyone really goes to a quiet spot in their house with no distraction. I haven't seen anyone distract at all, except a puppy one time, but everyone loved the puppies. So and it really offered a great setting. And as to what Christy said, I think everyone's more comfortable opening up in their own home, because if you have like that comfortable couch or that spot on your bed, that, you know, that blanket, you can curl up with a cup of tea and talk and share. And I think it makes people, I've seen people open up sooner in virtual Alpha than I have doing it in person now. But usually it takes a few weeks in person because you're still, you know, all strangers. But now you're sitting in your house. You can absolutely feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah,
and one of the aspects I really enjoy as a team leader, because I know we're going to talk about for that week, is I can go on my computer and get some images or music and stuff that we can screen share through Zoom and show everyone and actually have a conversation about it, instead of trying to make color photocopies to bring or handouts. And then obviously we've had other people in the group. Oh, you know, we were talking about, you know, finding God in nature one night, and one of our team members, or one of our guests, had been out west, and said he found the Holy Spirit in nature, and showed us a picture of the Grand Teton National Park. And we were just kind of observing that and looking at it and like, you know, having a conversation about God and nature. And that it opens a new way to communicate and share. So I'm very, very happy, and it worked better than I ever could have expected.
Awesome, Will. And that's consistent, right, Dan, with the feedback that you're receiving from other leaders, correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so now, Ken, virtual Alpha kind of demanded a whole new position on the team. can you tell us a little bit about what is it that you're doing now with Alpha? Because you had been part of a previous Alpha as a host, correct?
Right. Yeah, and it's really interesting. It's what I do during Alpha is coordinate it with Dan and Christy, is really manage the flow of the host and the guest, bringing them into, I guess in the beginning, bringing them into the main room, but also bringing them to the breakout rooms, keeping a stopwatch. When do they come back to the main room? When do they leave to go to their breakout rooms? So it's managing that aspect of it. I look at it as the flow of people, and I work for FedEx, and there's a flow of packages there, but not, I don't want to say that people are packages, but I just, in my mind, I
I
visualize
think you just did.
that flow, to have that flow going back and forth.
Dan,
Awesome.
Ken loves logistics.
Exactly.
I
So
love
do I.
logistics.
So the fact that Ken is actually having this totally behind the scenes role really has really done quite a bit from your perspective, Dan. Can you share a little bit about why that position is so important to you?
Ken's position?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. When I did
Critical.
the prayer course, I actually had more guests at the prayer course than we have in Alpha right now. So I had to do everything myself. I had to be the MC. I had to be what Ken's doing. And I also was a host in one of the breakout rooms. We had 4 breakout rooms, and it got impossible to do. As I'm doing my Master of Ceremonies spiel, I had to let people in, put them in a breakout room while I'm talking. Ken does all this, so I can just talk. I could play the music video. I could see Ken's letting people in as I'm playing the music video. I'm getting my notes ready on what I'm going to say after the music video. I conduct polls, things like that. People drop by accident. Ken has to let them back in, send them back to the breakout room. So Ken is busy all the time while we're doing these things. And also when we all go in our breakout rooms, we have no idea what's going on in the main room, but Ken's still in the main room.
Yeah.
So if one of our guests leaves the breakout room by accident, they can't come directly back. They have to go to the main room. Ken's got to let them back in. So
Right.
Ken's like the cop, at the door,
Yeah.
and also the traffic cop. So
yeah.
I mean, what you do, Ken, is amazing, especially the timing. I mean, because every session's sort of like a little production.
Yeah.
And
You
I
wanna-
appreciate you saying that, Dan. And I was going to say, Christina, that it was really, for me, what interested me in doing that, being part of this virtual alpha in that role, is the challenge of the transition from in-person to virtual.
Mm.
Christy, you were saying it so beautifully, the hospitality, but make them feel at home, feel welcome. We're acquainted with how to do it in person, and this is new with virtual. So I wanted to see how that was done. And we can translate it in the way from in-person to virtual with the breakout rooms. We have classrooms and in-person breakout rooms. And I think the breakout room, Zoom, is a big part of this virtual alpha and the tools that it offers. And being able to manage that, I use other webinar tools at work. And Zoom was a new experience for me, but I picked it up easily because it had many of the same features as other things I use, but some new features. Dan, you helped me with setting up breakout rooms and the different settings. And what you said earlier about how now my role is able to let you focus on the things that really make the people feel at home and feel welcome. That really was what interested me joining in this role.
Awesome. And so, Ken, since you have basically what might seemingly be a bit of a logistics type role, has that impacted your own spiritual journey, being in that role?
It has. It's really funny. I think you were surprised when I mentioned that I chat with a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And Dan, you mentioned about people having to come into the main room either in the beginning when we all start, or if people inadvertently get cut off or they leave unexpectedly, need to come back, I begin to chat with those
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
And what's funny, I have repeat customers. It's typically, a handful of people that will get cut off, and you know who they are, but we've developed a rapport. And it's really interesting to start chatting with people and just gauge how they're feeling. And I see how they're impacted positively and are eager to be here. And when I start chatting with people, I'm respectful when there are other things going on, but when we're switching between rooms or if they had to come back, just to have a light conversation and I can gauge how they're feeling and I can see from the very beginning, and Will, you were saying people seem to be more open in Zoom quicker. And I just felt that people were open and people were willing to share the joy that they were feeling. And it's really an interesting aspect, unexpected, but what a pleasure, what a blessing to be able to have that.
So thank you so much, Ken, and thank you all of you. We hope that our conversation has been able to provide our faith community an insight into this beautiful journey of Alpha from a leadership standpoint. Also, I just, from my perspective, it's just such a beautiful example of teamwork. Just beautiful people rising up to leadership, welcoming others. It's been just a wonderful, wonderful experience, even in the midst of something like COVID that we just basically had no idea how we could possibly navigate. But we're doing it. And our first journey is almost over, just 2 more sessions to go. And then we have another one coming soon. And Dan, just very quickly, give us a quick scoop about the next series when it's due to begin.
Next one will be 11 Thursdays starting October 1st. We skip Thanksgiving and we end on December 17th, which is a week before Christmas Eve. So I hope you can all sign up. We can't wait for you to join us on the spiritual journey.
So you'll be hearing more about it once we open up registration. We thank you all so much for being with us, for tuning in. And God bless our wonderful Alpha team, our wonderful guests, and our beautiful parish community. Thank you so much for joining us. God bless.
Thank you, Christina.
Thank you,
Amen.
Christina.